Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to do something a little different. We're diving deep into a classic Zen text to figure out a really powerful meditation practice. And really, we're going to use this ancient wisdom to tackle a super modern problem. What do you do when your meditation just hits a wall? So let's start with something that might sound really familiar to some of you. You've been meditating for a while, right? You're making progress, things are going well, and then it just stops, dead in its tracks. It literally feels like you've slammed into this invisible wall, and it doesn't matter how hard you push, you just can't seem to break through. And if that's you, you're definitely not alone. I mean, this feeling, this wall, where your progress just stalls and everything you do feels forced and kind of fake. Well, it's actually a known stage in Zen, or as it's called in Korea, Seon meditation. The amazing thing is, practitioners hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they hit the exact same wall. So where do we look for answers? Well, we're going to go way back. We're looking at this incredible text called the Mongsan Beobeo. It basically means Master Mongsan's Dharma words. And what it is, it's pretty much a transcript of a one-on-one coaching session. It's a master talking to his student step by step about how to smash through this exact wall. Okay, so our teacher in this story is Master Mongsan. He was a Zen master back in the 13th century. And his student, Goan, he's the one who's completely stuck. So for this explainer, let's just imagine we are Goan Sangan. Let's put ourselves in his shoes and ask the questions that, we all have when we feel totally lost in our practice. All right, so the very first thing Master Mongsan gets into is the core of the practice. It's the engine that makes it all work. It's a method called Hwadu. And he says, look, whether this works or not comes down to just one thing. You have to cultivate the right kind of doubt. And that's the key, the right kind. So what is a Hwadu? Well, you can think of it like a meditative puzzle. It's a question that you can't just answer with logic. It's not supposed to be solved like a riddle. It's more of a tool, something to spark this really deep, continuous state of inquiry. But, and this is the big but, how you get to that state of inquiry, well, that changes everything. And this leads us right to a huge point that Master Mongsan makes. He says there are two different kinds of doubt. On one hand, you've got true doubt. This stuff just comes up on its own. It's natural, it flows, it's continuous. But then you have forced doubt. And that's when you sit down and you're like, okay, time to doubt now. Let me try really hard to have a question. And that, he says, is the big mistake. That's what gets you stuck. Yeah, trying to force it doesn't get you anywhere near insight. In fact, the text is super clear about this. It leads you straight to the number one biggest obstacle in his whole practice. This thick, heavy, sleepy fog that just won't lift. This problem is so common, so powerful, that it actually has its own name. They call it suma, which you could translate as the demon of drowsiness. It's this thing that just comes over you when your effort is off, when you're trying to manufacture something that's supposed to happen all on its own. But here's the great part. Master Mongsan doesn't just point out the problem and leave you there. He gives you this super simple, really practical 4-step plan to beat it. Step 1, recognize it. The second you feel your eyes getting heavy, you just notice it. 2, speak your Hwadu out loud. Say it once or twice to kind of wake your mind up. 3, if that doesn't work, get up. Stand up, walk around a bit. And finally, step 4, only when your mind feels clear and sharp again, then you go back and sit down. Now, what's so cool is that when you get this right, when that true doubt is actually there, the Hwadu stops being a struggle. The text calls it a panacea, like a cure-all, not just for your mind, but for your body too. And Mongsan says you'll start to see real, tangible signs when you shift from that forced effort to a genuine practice. Your mind, it's not going to be foggy anymore. It's going to be crystal clear. Your body won't feel exhausted. It'll feel full of energy. And the practice gets so deep that it starts to seep into your subconscious. You'll even find the Hwadu present when you're dreaming. There's this fantastic analogy in the text for what this feels like. It's like spinning a top. At first you have to put in all this effort to get it going. But once it finds its balance, it just spins all by itself, effortlessly. That's what the practice becomes. It becomes self-sustaining. You're not doing it anymore, you're just in it. But just when you think you're getting close, there's one more trap. And Mongsan points this out very clearly. He says if you're sitting there actively waiting for a breakthrough, thinking, I must be close, that itself is a kind of wanting, a desire. And that anticipation, It just builds another wall you have to get past. Okay, so this brings us to what Master Mongsan says is the one single most important thing. The one part of this that is absolutely non-negotiable if you want to succeed. You can have all the techniques in the world, but without this, they're useless. And the text could not be more clear on this. Trying to do this by yourself, it's pretty much impossible. Mongsan literally says that without a real teacher, you could wander around lost in your own mind for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, and never find your way out. The text even has a specific name for this kind of guide, a Seon Jishik, and it has this beautiful translation, the bright-eyed teacher. This isn't just some person who's read a few books. We're talking about someone whose own insight is so sharp, so clear, that they can actually see what's going on inside your mind, even better than you can. They can spot all those little traps you keep falling into. So a Seon Jishik isn't just a nice to have. They are a core part of the whole process. They're the one who gives you the right Hwadu for you personally. They help you tell the difference between real doubt and the fake stuff you're trying to manufacture. And maybe most importantly, they know exactly when you need a push and when you need some encouragement, especially when you hit that final wall and you just want to quit. Mongsan has another perfect analogy for this. He says the whole journey is like boiling water. You can put in all this effort, apply all this heat, and get the water all the way to 99 degrees. But if you stop right there, you just have hot water. All that work for nothing. The teacher is the one who makes sure you keep the heat on for that final degree, to push past that boiling point where everything changes. So what's that breakthrough moment actually like? Well, it's not about learning something new. It's described more like a huge release, a sudden, massive clarification. The text says it's like a cicada finally breaking out of its old shell, or like you've been carrying a 1,000-pound weight your whole life and you suddenly just drop it. It's this incredible, immediate lightening of the load. So in the end, what we have from Master Mongsan is this amazing, detailed map of the mind. It shows you the path, it warns you about the pitfalls, and it points to the destination. But his final, most urgent point is this. A map is just a map. It's not enough to get you there. And that leaves us with a really important question for our own practice, doesn't it? We have the map, but who is going to be our guide?